Shalom Temple Israel. I hope you're having a good week. How many of you like to eat out at new restaurants? I know I did before the pandemic started. I enjoyed trying out a new restaurant, studying the menu carefully, picking what I thought would be the absolute perfect meal, ordering it, and waiting expectantly for the food to arrive, only to be disappointed that it wasn't nearly as good as I hoped it would be. If you like to try new restaurants instead of going to your old favorites, it's certainly a risk you take, but you still feel disappointed when the restaurant doesn't live up to its expectations. I remember one time this happened with my family. It was 1997, and my family had spent the summer in Israel to celebrate my bar mitzvah. On a Monday morning at Minyan at Moreshet Israel, the conservative synagogue in downtown Jerusalem, I read from the Torah and I led services. And the plan was to walk to a cafe in the nearby neighborhood for breakfast afterward with our family and friends. Well, the week before the bar mitzvah, my mother and I went to the cafe. We set up the menu together with the owner. We planned out exactly what I wanted on the menu to celebrate my bar mitzvah. The day came, the service, of course, went beautifully, and we all walked down the street to this particular cafe. And the waiters and the chefs managed to get absolutely everything wrong. No one's order was right, and they didn't have any of the special food they promised that would help me celebrate my bar mitzvah. At 13 years old, I was quite disappointed. Now, I remember this every year when we read Parshat Akev, the Torah portion that we read this Shabbat. Firstly, that's because Parshat Akev was my bar mitzvah parsha that year. I chanted the first three aliyot, but also because Parshat Akev has the verse, V'achalta v'savata uverachta. You shall eat, and you shall be satisfied, and you shall thank the Lord your God. And this verse, in our tradition, is the source for Berkat Hamazon, the grace after meals, the idea that every single time we eat, we should finish our meal by thanking God for what we have eaten. And gratitude for everything that we have, is a very big part of Jewish belief and Jewish practice. But many of the commentaries look at this verse, and they look at the three words, and they ask, what if you eat and then you're not satisfied? What if you want to eat? What if you're hungry, but really don't have that much food to eat? You don't have the luxury of choosing your restaurant and looking at the menu. You have exactly what you have. You can't afford anything else, and you just make do with what you have, and it's not very good. Well, even in a case like that, the rabbis tell us we should still thank God. We should still recite Berkat Hamazon because we are always thankful for what we have, even if it is not ideal. So when I first think about my bar mitzvah breakfast that went wrong, and then I think about the lesson of the verse, V'achalta v'savata uverachta, I'm reminded to be grateful for the fact that my family was able to spend the summer in Israel, that I was able to learn to lead services and to read Torah and to have a bar mitzvah in our holiest city. It was a wonderful experience, and the restaurant getting things wrong didn't change just how special that day was. So as we read Parashat Akev and we read the instruction, V'achalta v'savata uverachta, you should eat and you shall be satisfied and you should thank God, we remember that each day we thank God for what it is we have that day, even if it's not ideal. Have a Shabbat Shalom, everybody.